The following is a live presentation of Retro Sports Network, home of the champions of the past, present, and or future. Good morning, afternoon, evening. My name is Ron Juckett. Welcome to the program for the 7th day of August, 2025. We play the games of Saturday, September 8th, 1956. So we are down to the last 22 days of the season. We are in Cleveland for a battle between the White Sox and the Indians. Both teams looking up at the Chicago White Sox and or the New York Yankees. It'll be Herb Score and Billy Pierce going at it on a beautiful night or beautiful afternoon in Cleveland. So both of these teams are kind of at the back end of it. But again, we've now gotten down to the last 3 weeks of the season, and it's still 5 teams within 5 games. Won't go day by day quite yet. We'll give it another week. So we'll do the games of 8, 9, 10, and 11, I think, after this stream. And then I think the next stream after this tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, will be probably the last National League stream. That'll be the Dodgers and the Braves. So gear up for that. So both of these teams are kind of in a position where the White Sox are probably the better of the two teams. But Cleveland still has some power, and the White Sox have a lot of pitching. And when you have 5 teams within 5 games, really anything can happen. So that's the setup for you. Billy Pierce, Herb Score, next on Retro Sports Network. As Retro Sports Network presents Major League Replay 1956. Today, from Cleveland's Municipal Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, it is the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago White Sox. And today's game is brought to you by DigitalDice.com, the best darn podcast on the web. For your sports simulation and replay needs, find Dave and Vinny on Spotify, Spreaker, iTunes, or anywhere fine podcasts are listed. And so Herb Score gets the call. Herb is not going to be a 20-game winner. How you doing, Mike, in the truck? And things in Vermont are good, Steve. How are you? Both of these teams come in at 72 and 60. The math is real easy. This is game 133 for both teams. They have 21 left, including this. Score is making his 29 to 33 starts. He is 13 and 13, considering that he started the year like 2 and 6. That's a pretty good bounce back. Earned run average of 301. He's 23 years old, fastball at 94, and a fly ball pitcher. He leads the American League in strikeouts with a whopping 8-bit 255. Struck out 11 against the Athletics on the 4th, so he's on 3 days rest. A 3-2 win over Kansas City. 9 innings, 156 pitches, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, a solo or a home run. He walked 4 and struck out 11. Season high was 15 strikeouts against Washington on July 25th. He got the win. Overall for Score, 224 innings, 154 hits, 89 runs, 75 earned, 20 homers. Again, Score doesn't know where the ball is going. He's walked 119 while striking out 255. And this will be the lineup he'll face. Louis Aparicio back in the leadoff spot for Chicago at short. Nellie Fox at second will bat second. Larry Doby in center goes third. Minnie Minoso cleans up in left. Sherm Lawler behind the plate batting fifth. Walt Dropo at first goes sixth. Bubba Phillips gets the call in right. He'll bat seventh. Fred Hatfield at third goes eighth, and Pierce will bat ninth on the mound. Score theoretically can go the distance. Defensively for Cleveland, Gene Woodling a 6 and a 3 in left. Jim Busby a 9 and a 7 in center, and Rocky Colavito a 6 and a 9 in right. Al Rosen a 5 at third. Carrasquel a 6 and a 7 at short. Avila a 6 and a 6 at second, and Wirtz is a 5 at first. Jim Hegan behind the plate a 9 and an 8 in Score. A 2 on the mound with a 909 fielding percentage. Top B, yep. We haven't had one of those before, Todd, right? Herb score start. Aparicio at 233, 3 homers and 47 RBI. It is a beautiful day in Cleveland. 75 degrees. The grass still almost growing. Actually, you know what? The Brown season wouldn't have started yet. They would have played some exhibition games, but nothing real yet. Winds left to right at 5 off of Lake Erie. And Aparicio strikes out to start the ball game. So score in this game should exceed his real-life total of 263 for strikeouts. Nellie Fox at 299, 5 homers and 60 RBI. Score deals, and Fox draws the walk. Nellie, who doesn't strike out that much, looked at a 3-1 fastball at 96 high and away. So 1 on, 1 out for Larry Doby, hitting 277, 20 home runs and 80 RBI. Yeah, I've heard that about him. A very nice gentleman, Herb was. Good broadcaster. I would say that him and Phil Rizzuto, who played in the same era, made the transition quite well. And Herb had the tougher job because he did primarily always radio. What did he ever do TV? How you doing, Greg? North of the border, how are you? Are you guys in Toronto getting the same wildfire smoke from BC and Alberta that we're getting here in the southern part of the Great Northeast? Pitch to Doby. Struck him out. That's 2 for Herb. Doby chased an 0-2 hard fastball, 2 out for Minnie Minoso at 287, 19 homers and 98 RBI. Score deals. That's into shallow center. Busby rides the Schwinn, makes the catch. That'll do. The White Sox leave a runner on. No runs, no hits, no errors. Half an inning down, no score. Billy Pierce on the mound for Chicago. Pierce is 29, making his 30th of 33 starts. He also wasn't going to win 20. He is 13-11 with a 3.41 ERA. He throws the fastball at 88 and is a ground ball pitcher. His last start came on the 3rd, so he's on full rest. His last appearance was 3. That's right, we did that game, the 11-6 win by Detroit. So Pierce came in out of the pen, 3 innings, 45 pitches, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, a homer. He walked 1 and struck out 2. His last start was in Chicago against Cleveland on August 31st. He went the distance in a 4-2 win and struck out 9. Overall for Pierce, 235 innings, 206 hits, 93 runs, 89 earned. He has allowed 25 homers. He's walked 77 and struck out 182, which is 3rd in the American League. Herb had to make Hendrick look as if he was trying. Yeah, very poor air quality all around Canada. How you doing, Paul? Jim Busby leads off in center field. Bobby Avila for the Indians will bat second and play second. Gene Woodling in left goes third. Vic Wertz cleans up at first. Rocky Calavito in right will bat fifth. Al Rosen at third will go sixth. Carrascal at short will bat seventh. Keegan behind the plate goes eighth, and Herb Score will bat ninth. Pierce can give you, obviously, complete game. Defensively for Chicago, Fred Hatfield a 6 at third. Aparicio a perfect 10 and 10 at short. Fox a 9 and a 10 at second. Walt Dropo is a 4 at first. The outfield, Minnie Minoso a 9 and a 7 in left. Larry Doby a 7 and a 3 in center. Bubba Phillips a 4 and a 5 in right. Lawler is an 8 and a 7 behind the plate. And Pierce a 6 on the mound with a .925 fielding percentage. Busby at 239, 12 homers and 56 RBI. How you doing, Mark? Good to have you along. Paul doing good, playing some 82 CFL. Strike year. Winnipeg and Saskatchewan. Is that one Dick and Erlin would have gone to? The Blue Bombers have been grounded most of the day. Fogg will do that. Pitch to Busby. Into right field, Fox rather, 1 out. Avila at 223. Bobby has 7 homers and 39 RBIs because reading is fundamental, Ron. And Avila draws the walk. Greg rooting for the Blue Bombers. Now, I know that you are a Red Wing fan, Greg, but are you an Argo fan, or who do you root for in the CFL? So Woodling at the plate, Gene at 278, 11 homers and 42 RBI. Hit the right button. Throw to first, and Avila is back. I thought about it, but I wanted to see what Pierce would do. Todd B says, wonder if Steve Busby was any relation to Jim. Might have been father-son. Steve was really good pitcher early in the 70s with Kansas City and had a lot of arm trouble. Yep. The sad thing for Steve Busby is by the time that the Royals were a perennial playoff team, he was done. Pitch to Woodling. Gene up the middle. Might be two. Nope. Not. Are they going to get anybody? Aparicio had to make a fantastic play just to get there, and his only play was to Woodling down the line. 2 out. Avila on second for Vic Wirtz at 254, 30 homers and 87 RBI. Dieter Brock not bringing his A or B game today. You mean he's bringing his game that he brought to the Los Angeles Rams? Pitch to Wirtz. Struck him out. So Pierce is through one off-speed changeup right down Broadway, and that'll do it. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 1, no score. So Lawler, Dropo, and Phillips to face score here in the second. Sherm at 296. 5 homers and 53 RBI. Fly ball, right field. Colavito down the line. That is tracking, but that will hook. Foul. And somebody from Erie, Pennsylvania made the catch, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. No, but perhaps the LA Clippers. Ooh. Dishing the dub. You would see, Greg had season tickets for the Argos for 33 years, but I also had season tickets in the mid-'70s when we moved away from Tirana to the Rough Riders and the Owls. Okay. That's cool. So Greg remembers the Argos when they played at Exhibition Stadium. Mark's about to play the Pirates and the Mets in your 74 replay. Doc Ellis and Tom Seaver. Teams are tied for first. Yeah, the Mets, you can make the case anywhere from 69 to 76 where the Mets can win that division every year. They were not a fluke. Pitch to Lawler. That's into left center. Carrasquel on the grass because I'll do my best, John Sterling there makes the catch. And I'll bring up Dropo at 264, 7 homers and 47 RBI. Does Doc know it's his day to pitch? Doc took his medication, and he's the only person in the history of fruit stripe gum to get more flavor out of it than 5 seconds. Pitch to Dropo. Ground ball to third. Rosen across the way to Wirtz for the out. We're being told that it wasn't fruit stripe gum that Doc took, but shh. Yipes, stripes. Here's Bubba Phillips at 263, 4 homers and 14 RBI. You hit it. Ottawa was my Greg's team as a kid, and Ross Jackson also probably the nicest man you met during your broadcast career. Greg, did you do sports for CBC? Early 70s season? Let's see, we're doing 86 next year. Where Paul lives in New York, you're closer to the national capital of Canada than the capital of New York. You closer to Ottawa than Albany? My family had a share in a deer camp on Lake Hortonia, so Paul might know where that is. It's about halfway. It's halfway between Rutland and Middlebury, if you're familiar with Vermont geography at all, and just kind of seemingly in the middle of nowhere. And remember playing with a radio, because I do that, And all these stations from Ottawa would come in. I mean, we are, to the south of Lake Champlain. So that's a hole and a half. Pitch to Bubba. There's a sharp ground ball to Chico over to first, and Phillips is retired. After inning and a half, easy for me to say, no score. So the Shine Sox go in order. Colavito, Rosen, and Carrasquel to go here for Cleveland in the second. Rocky at 268, 18 homers and 48 RBI. Oh, okay, for 12 years. Till budget cuts moved me to the news for the last 24 of your career. So were you on Channel 5 News Watch? Greg's going to pass out that I knew about that. Doc Ellis, by the way, Mark says 11-4 with a 3.40 ERA. And Tom Seaver, 10-4 in 74 with a 2.40 ERA. And that was an off year for Seaver. He battled sciatica. Can you tell if Doc is high or not? No. Todd had a 20-year-old transistor radio and popped some popcorn for entertainment purposes. National sports, okay. Colavito, I give you his numbers. There's a ground ball to Aparicio over to Dropo for the out. And Knowlton Nash will be asking you questions later. And if Knowlton Nash is asking you questions, maybe you should stay away from Doc Ellis' drinks. Al Rosen at 286, 15 homers and 75 RBI. That is a ground ball to Aparicio over to Dropo for the out. I read Todd B's things wrong. Hand a 20-year-old a transistor radio and pop some popcorn for entertainment purposes. Carrasquel at 242, 14 homers and 60 RBI. Case in point, Todd. So every once in a while, when the person that washes me up in the morning, not named Nurse Britt, they'll bring in someone new that might work for the agency or is interested in becoming an LNA or a CNA, depending on what part of the country you're in. And so last Friday, we had this young lady stroll through who was all of 20 years old. She's going to be a junior up at Groovy UV this fall. And we got talking about going to school. Pitch to Chico. There's a base hit left center field. Manoso will pick it up off a hop. And that's the first hit for anybody. 2 out here in the second. Hegan at 203. 7 homers and 31 RBI. And so she wants to go to med school. And the person that was actually doing the job is going into nursing school at Norwich, by the way, if you're interested, this fall. And so, did you go to school, Mr. Jacket? Yes, I did. I flunked out of Linden State. Well, she asked me what I went to school for. Pitch to Hegan. There's a line shot to Aparicio, and that will do. That's not what I went to school for. No runs, a hit, no errors. We go to third here in Cleveland, no score. So says Herb, who will face Hatfield, Pierce, and Aparicio here in the third. And so when I said I went to school for radio, you could see the lights in her eyes go off. And as she talked with her hands and tried to figure out exactly what in the world I was talking about, she went to me and said, "You mean the thing with knobs?" I'm not making that up. Honest to God, truth. And I said, "Yep, broadcasting." That she understood. Oh, you knew Ken Daniels, who worked local sports and had been play-by-play man for the Red Wings for over 30 years. I remember when he did Hockey Night in Canada. Also met Mickey Redmond when he was quite young, when he played for the Habs. Telegraph operator Andy. Yep. Honest to goodness, she had no idea. She had no idea that was even a career. Turns out it's not. This is what I'm doing. Pitch to Hatfield. Struck him out. That's 3 for score. 2-2 fastball swung right through it. So here's Billy Pierce at 143 and 5 RBI. Can you imagine? Telegraph, yep. And so I feel bad for when you see a YouTube video where one suggested that a kid has to figure out how to use a rotary phone and all that. But I'm sure that, whatever she does for radio is probably through her cell phone. You use a wired antenna or a wired headphone jack, and that acts as the antenna. Pitch to Pierce. Struck him out, 4 for score. An 0-2 off-speed changeup for the out. So score opening 9, 31 pitches, 2 2/3, a walk and 4 strikeouts. Aparicio struck out his first time up. Got him! Score, fans aside. How about that? Good morning, good afternoon, and good night as Aparicio chased a full count fastball. After 2.5 here in Cleveland, no score. Speaking of score, here's Herb at 133 and 3 RBI. Greg took radio and TV at Ryerson, which is now Toronto Metro. That's the university that had the shares the rink now at the old Maple Leaf Gardens, right? With the PWHL team, which is not the Leafs, right? Struck him out. Pierce got him on an 0-2 looking. 1 out for Busby. So opening 9 for Pierce. 31 pitches, 2 1/3, a hit, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Todd tells his granddaughter we had to take a picture and take stuff out of the camera to a store, and maybe a week later we had photos. Yeah, I'm sure. A photomat, which by the time that I was a kid, most of those were in the parking lots of your mall. What's a mall? Never mind. Busby's 0 for 1. Ned Ryerson, yep. Paul can lend me a 14-year-old who will be worse than any nursing student. Had to instruct her on how to send an email last night. How you doing, Barb? Oh, a snail mail. What do you put? I gotta lick the back of this? Ew! Barb, how you liking Strat? Baseball. Someone got a Strat set for Barb and loaded it with teams. What a benefactor. Barb's dad owned a Kodak store. That's cool. Andy sent his film to Seattle, where it sure beats milking cattle, and got it back a week later. There was a photo lab. When I was a kid, pitch to Busby. There's a ground ball to short. Aparicio has to hurry. Bang, banger. Busby's out. 2 away for Avila, who walked his first time up. We mailed it to the next town over. Way of the week. The drugstore in our town had a photo lab. I gotta tell you, as someone who handled that stuff with your mouth, they didn't taste very good. And you might get it a couple days. Or we just drove, if we had to go to Rutland, we dropped it off there. And there were no such things as free double prints. You've not played the baseball, you've been a hockey kick. Nothing wrong with that. Polaroid instant pictures were like a UFO thing, yep. Ned Ryerson from Groundhog Day, okay. Bart, I missed you. How are you? And just like Pepperidge Farm, Greg remembers. Pitch to Avila. There's a ground ball to Fox behind the bag at second, over to first, and Bobby's retired, and that'll do. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the 4th, no score. So Fox on a 9-game hitting streak walked his first time up. So Barb enjoying the games here. Pitch to Nelly. Fly ball, left field. Woodling. 1 out for Larry Doby, who struck out his first time up. And, of course, if it was a hot summer day with those pictures, they'd stick together and made that sound like your skin on a vinyl car seat. Struck him out. That's 6 for score. Doby dug in and did a bad pirouette on a 1-2. 2 out for Minoso, who's 0 for 1. Don't drive angry. Nope. Mets up 1-0 in the third. Crampool scores on a Wayne Garrett single. I'm doing well, thanks, Bart. They play Groundhog Day all day on one of the stations on Groundhog Day. Would be the best rating the CBC got outside of Hockey Night in Canada. Pitch to Minoso. There is a ground ball to third. Rosen across the way to Wirtz, and Mitty is retired. Bottom of the fourth coming up, no score. So, if you weren't with us the other day, here's where we're at. Brooklyn's magic number is 9. Milwaukee would have a 5-game lead in the American League. And everyone else, I mean, Brooklyn's lapped the field in the National League. In the American League, again, 5 teams within 5 games. Tigers up 1.5 games on the Yankees. 3 on Boston, 5 on Cleveland and Chicago. And everyone else is kind of out of it. Woodling, Wirtz, and Colavito here in the bottom of the fourth. Gene is 0 for 1. I think it was Steve the other day that said he looked at Baseball Reference for the Tigers and wonder how they got there. My response is they can hit with anybody, and I think Brooklyn will just roll over whoever they play. Famous last words. The question I have, if the Yankees win the American League, who do they get that 4th win from? I mean, Whitey Ford is really their only halfway decent pitcher, and their bullpen smells like yesterday's milk. Pitch to Woodling into right center. Phillips, 1 out. For Wirtz, who's 0 for 1, he struck out. It was not us. Barb having a good time with those games, and that's the point. Greg only yells at the TV when the Leafs are beating the Red Wings. Thankfully, you don't need to yell that much. To third, Hatfield's there, 2 out. For Colavito, who's 0 for 1. Pitcher's duel, as you'd expect from Billy Pierce and Herb Score. That's up the middle. Aparicio's got it. Throws on the run, and Colavito is retired. We've played 4. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 4, 0-0. Yeah, true. Sherm Lawler, Walt Dropo, and Bubba Phillips to face Score here in the 5th. Gonna be a long recap coming up. Lawler is 0 for 1. That is in the shallow center. Busby coming in will make the catch. 1 out for Dropo, who's 0 for 1. And Walt draws the walk. A hard fastball that did not find the zone on a full count. So 1 out for Bubba Phillips, who's 0 for 1. And that gets away from Hegan, but no one can. Dropo is not graced with good speed. So a 3-ball count now to Phillips. And if Bubba swings, yeah, we've had a lot of offense as of late. So, Steve, to answer your question, I mean, the Yankees, if they do win the American League, are doing it because Mantle and Berra got them there. It's not because of their pitching. Pitch to Phillips, and Phillips walks. So first and second, Hegan not real thrilled. So Score has now walked 3. 1 out here in the 5th for Hatfield, who struck out his first time up. That is in the left center. Busby slides and can't make the catch. Dropo around third. Phillips into third. Hatfield with a double. Busby was trying to... There was a decision there. Either get out in front of it and let the run score or try for the out. And instead, you take that chance, you give up the double, and that's exactly what happened. So the White Sox go up 1-0. Here's Pierce. He struck out his first time up. Second and third, 1 out. Steve jinxed it. Got him. 7 for score. And 0-2, and Pierce swung at it. So 18 batters deep, 68 pitches, 4 2/3. For score of just the one hit, that was Hatfield. 3 walks and 7 strikeouts. It seems like Berra has a big game every time the Yankees are on. I'm telling you, I mean, Joe Garagiola, God bless him, was certainly one of the bigger, spreaders of Yogi's if you see a fork in the road, take it mentality. But Yogi, despite the fact he's in the Hall of Fame and one of the top 5 catchers of all time, I think as a player was underrated. He started his career behind Joe DiMaggio and then Mickey Mantle and then Mantle and Maris. And Yogi was just completely consistent. When Greg watched the Jays-Rockies game yesterday, I was offended, and I'm a Blue Jay fan. Yep, 20-1. That's Phyllis Diller. Yeah, that's ugly. Gavin Williams of the Guardians took a no-hitter in the 9th against the Mets, struck out Lindor for the first out, then Soto's hit in the center field just out of the... Well, the Mets fans will have to give another reason to be pissed at Soto then. 2 out for Aparicio, who strikes out a 3rd time. How about that? He chased and scored, just has a wry smile. However, the White Sox kid on the board with a hit and no errors and halfway home on this beautiful day in Burlington, 1-0 Chicago. Yogi was indeed Casey's guy. 1 run, a hit, no errors for Chicago. No runs, a hit, no errors for Cleveland. And that run came a moment ago. Fred Hatfield with an RBI double. The score, Walt Dropo. Billy Pierce, a 1-hitter through 4, a walk and 2 strikeouts. Herb Score, the 1-hitter through 5. He's walked 3 and struck out 8. And Greg says... it's not what you look like, it's how you play the game, which is the Don Mossy rule, right? And Cleveland hasn't had a no-hitter since what? Lenny Barker's perfect game in 81, right? Berra got the raw deal as manager of the Yankees. Yep, absolutely. There's Aaron Boone, who seems to have kept his job for 8 years of basically nada. Well, that's the difference between the Steinbrenners. Speaking of Yankee front office, Al Rosen 0 for 1. On WPTC Plattsburgh, North Pole, Burlington. Greg, have you ever seen the infamous Oprah Winfrey WPTC blooper? So, she's doing the tags, catch Oprah every day at 4 on Channel 5. And so she reads up the legal ID, Plattsburgh, North Pole, Burlington. And she looks off camera and goes, North Pole? Seriously? North Pole? Yep. Bart. Berra managed the 64 Yankees, lost to the Cards, and was fired in the World Series. Might have had something to do with Phil Linz in a harmonica fight. There is actually a clip from an entire Tonight Show uploaded onto YouTube from the summer of 64, and it is right around, just after the fight, because Carson mentions Linz playing the harmonica someplace where he shouldn't be. Yeah, I think Boone probably should go. Yeah, look that one up. I think that one's on the tube as well. She just laughs and laughs and laughs. Well, today's pitchers are designed to go 18 batters. Pitch to Rosen. There is a ground ball to Minoso, and Al has a single, and that's the second hit for Cleveland. For Chico, who had the first base hit of the ball game, his last time up. He's 1 for 1. When Mark was little, Oprah worked for WJZ in Baltimore. We had just moved there from New York City. She came to my junior high school as a reporter for some fluff piece. Mark, there is a clip from '77 when either the Colts clinched the division or won a playoff game, somewhere in there. It might have been when they clinched the division. I think it was when they beat the Patriots at the end of '77. And the anchor that Sunday night was a very afroed Oprah Winfrey. No, Johnny Keane was not around spread Shane Deans when the Cardinals won in '67. You see it because the Yankees hired Keane in '65. And Keane was what, 50, 51? He looked about 80. He looked ancient. Pitch to Carrasquel is a base hit right center. Phillips has it. Rosen will hold. So first and second, nobody out for Hegan, who's 0 for 1. It's over in Regina. The Rough Riders 35, the Blue Bombers 24. North Pole's about 15 miles away from Hot Sarah, right next to Whiteface. Yep. And where the transmitter was for 1,000 years for WPTZ. Struck him out. That's 3 for Pierce now. A 1-2 strikeout. Got him looking. And here's Score, who's going to certainly bat here. Herb struck out his first time up. Huffnagel must have had a good game. Oh, he's talking about for what Paul was playing. Yep. Fly ball, right field. Back goes Phillips. And Bubba will make the catch. Is it deep enough to move up Rosen? It is, but we're not going to with 2 out. They all looked older when we were younger. Sparky was 40. Oh, Sparky too, yeah. But if you look up the picture of Johnny Keane for that opening Yankee press conference, his liver was going to file for divorce. He just looked, it wasn't that he looked old. He looked horrible. Pitch to Busby, who's 0 for 2. That's in the right or left field. Minoso will make the catch, and that will do. We've played 5. Cleveland gets 2 hits, and they leave them both. After 5, 1-0 Chicago. So Fox trying to get that hitting streak up to 10 is walked and is 0 for 1. Sparky always looked about 60. That's right. Mark worked for an all-sports talk station in Baltimore. The owner of the station was his first cousins with Louis Aparicio. So yeah, Sparky Todd didn't smell very much. Obviously a bad ice cube. Needless to say that Mr. Unger was not impressed with Mr. Cousin. Pitch to Fox. There's a ground ball to short. Chico's going to have to wait for it. Throws to first. Now he's running, and he beat it out. So Nelson has a 10-game hitting streak for Larry Doby, who has struck out twice. 2 of the 8 Ks by Mr. Score as we start the 6th. Doby in the right. Calavito going back. Rocky will make the catch, and Fox goes back to first. Minoso 0 for 2. Score cruising right along here, looking for his 14th win. Oh, you'll have to, if you still have that, email me it. Mark wrote a letter of resignation that's considered a classic in the radio biz. And the horse you rode in on, yep. Sparky played for Dick Williams in Toronto. Struck him out, 9 for a score. Minnie swung through a 1-2 fastball. Here's Lawler, who is 0 for 2. Oh, you're looking for it now? Okay. We will be with you tomorrow. Tomorrow is my wedding anniversary. We're going out to dinner. There's a ground ball to Chico. Goes to second for the out there. And that'll do. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. Bottom 6. White Sox 1, Indians nothing. So Avila, Woodling, and Wirtz to face Pierce here, who is cruising right along. Bobby 0 for 1 for a walk. 19 batters deep for Billy, because I forgot to do this. 63 pitches, 5 innings, 3 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. And Bobby draws the walk. Thank you. So we're going to go to, talk about more tomorrow, the local steakhouse in town and char some flesh and have a drink and listen to the music from when we were kids. Woodling is 0 for 2. We are going in, well, we're not going to where we take strangers that we made off the internet. E.B. Strong's, if you must know. Pitch to Woodling. Struck him out. That's 4 for Pierce, an 0-2 inside. Got him looking. For Wirtz, who is 0 for 2, he is struck out once. We went for the first, we didn't go for a long time. I mean, steakhouses aren't cheap. We went for our 25th, and both just loved it. And is that a balk? Nope, that's a pitch out, and Avila's not going. So 1 ball count to Wirtz. Drops that one down. That wasn't a bunt. Tipped it, and the count is a ball and a strike. Yep, thanks. When Paul replays those 82 CFL games, I can't find the box score to see who started at quarterback. It's a good place. What game did you ask the missus for? Yeah, Mrs. Hot Sarah might be dropping the new Strat football. She doesn't know this yet, but she might be. Don't worry, you won't show up. Any other time, I'd be happy to have you. Pitch to a throw to first, and Avila's back. Now I'll steal. So we've had a pitch out and a steal. We sent. Oh, they got him, didn't they? Yep. Wow. I thought they wouldn't do that anymore, so I sent him, and Pierce threw over, and Avila is caught in a pickle and is thrown out. Aparicio puts the tag down, 2 out. Good for the computer there. Nicely done. Wirtz draws the walk. So, isn't really necessary to pre-order any of the Strat stuff since I don't know the cards and dice part of it. I got the football game when it was on sale a couple weeks ago. Rocky Colavito 0 for 2. And it really is feeling like you're playing football by teletype. But it draws me in because you can roll your own dice. Pitch to Lawler and Pierce have a word. I have a true confession in a moment. Colavito draws the walk, and the Indians got something cooking here in the 6th. 4th walk for Pierce. 4-pitch walk, and here's Rosen, who's 1 for 2 with a single. So I think you saw me post on the Facebook group, or I blew the 14-point lead for Seattle with a minute to go against Cleveland in 84. Well, I went to finish that, have the extra point kicked, and take my medicine and play overtime, and the game crashed. But if you've ever played Strat football, it will revert back to the play before. So Seattle ended up winning 31-24. Cleveland didn't get the touchdown, but they did have the interception. And old Paul McDonald couldn't move the football down the field. They went 3 and out. And Cleveland lost the game with a here and a there. So that's how that one went. We'll see if they got rid of the pink box problem for this year's version. Pitch to Rosen. Al punches this one into right in front of Phillips. Wirtz around third. Phillips is going to cut it off by Fox, and we're tied up at 1. So Rosen an RBI single. Colavito stops at second. Carrasquel has half of Cleveland's hits. He's 2 for 2 with 2 singles. So Rosen has a 2-hit. And Rosen and Carrasquel have all 4 hits for Cleveland. That's up the middle. Aparicio to Fox, and that will do. You know, it's kind of like having 2 hockey goalies out there between Aparicio and Fox. Not much gets by him. However, Cleveland gets a run on a hit. They have tied this after 6. Chicago 1, Cleveland 1. So Dropo, Phillips, and Hatfield to face score here in the 7th. Walt is walked and is scored. How you doing, Andrew? 84, you're a year away. No Kozar. No Kozar. Different story. I gotta say, though, Todd, every time I saw Ernest Biner's name pop up, my heart broke. Pitch to Dropo. Left center, Busby makes the catch. 1 out. We're with you tomorrow at noon Eastern, 11 Central. Like I said, I think for the Dodgers and the Braves. Bubba Phillips 0 for 1 with a walk. In the right center, Busby will make the catch. 2 out for Fred Hatfield. 1 for 2. A double, an RBI, and a strikeout. Just 6 hits combined in this game as we play the top of the 7th. That is up the middle. Avila towards stretch time, 1-1. Higgins score and Busby here in the bottom of the 7th. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors for Chicago, and they have left on 4. Cleveland, a run on 4 hits, no errors, and they have left on 6. Higgins 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Then I see RJL tease another advanced version of inside pitch. Pitch to Higgins. Up the middle, Fox over to Dropo for the out. How you doing, Aaron? So 1 out for score. Herb is 0 for 2. He has struck out once. Slow chopper to the mound. Right side. Over to first and score. Beat it out. How about that? So a little looper that found the thick grass and Billy Pierce couldn't make the play. So the 5th hit for Cleveland. Opening 27 for Pierce. 6 1/3. 97 pitches. 5 hits, 4 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Busby 0 for 3. A big game, a big weekend series with both of these teams 5 games behind the Tigers. Doing great. 24-25 seasons available at Action PC over basketball. We'll try to guide the Cavs to a championship. Can't wait to see the Indians pulling off what they did in real life on the tabletop. You got that in a card and dice game? Are you going to be able to do the new thing for Action PC and use it as a board game companion? Pitch to Busby, struck him out. That's 5 for Pierce. A 1-2 off-speed pitch got him to check his swing, and they looked down to first, and the home plate umpire said he swung. So 2 out for Avila, who has walked twice, been thrown out trying to steal second, and is 0 for 1. Sadly, it's become a tradition with the Browns. The last time the Browns won, Greg was 5. He'll be 66 on Tuesday. Well, happy birthday early. And at least you're not a Lions fan. Pitch to Avila. And Bobby draws the walk. So first and second, as we hit the heart of the Cleveland order, Woodling is 0 for 3 today with a strikeout. Andrew looking for work. So if you're in the Louisville area, were you like a front desk person at a gym? On the off chance that some random person in the metropolitan Louisville area is looking for some help in their fitness center, Mr. Rothman is certainly qualified. I hope that I got that job right. You were -2 when the last one had the Lions. Of course, you know the story about that. They're at Kezar to play the 49ers, and San Francisco had a big lead, and the walls between the locker rooms were paper thin, and so San Francisco's whooping it up, drinking their Fresca, smoking their cigarettes, and it upset the Lions just a wee bit, and Detroit stormed out and won. Will you use Action PC, Todd says, maybe mixing some other games. Not sure how the data entry will be. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. Pitch to Woodlings. Ball 4. So Cleveland has loaded the bases for Vic Wertz. That's not who you want up if you're a White Sox fan. Victor has walked and scored. He's 0 for 2. 1-1, bottom of the 7th, 2 out. Line drive to Fox, and that will do. No runs, a hit, no errors. We go to the 8th. White Sox and Indians 1-1. Cleveland is left on 9. Let's see what they do with Pierce, who's 0 for 2. He has struck out twice. Oh, super. Cook doesn't usually do videos. Slybell might, and I'm not sure if I'll pick up the basketball game or not. The weird thing is that of all the card games that I have for basketball, they're all self-contained. Johnny Balls. This is, nope, it's not a rip-up of OOTP. Kind of like Pearson, this is Action PC Baseball 2025. You can find it at dksports.com. Front desk. Going in that direction. Well, good luck to you. Aaron has a question. Would I recommend playing all the matches on the calendar or just certain teams? It's up to you what you want to play. I wouldn't. I think you'd burn out. We do, in this one, Aaron, it's generally 3 games a week. So Wednesday, Friday, and back in the between 1966 and 1989, the NBC television network did Game of the Week on Saturday afternoons. And so we generally do a day game on Saturday day to mimic what they would have done. And for me, that's enough. Pitch to Pierce stays in the game into center field. Busby will make the catch, 1 out. So score, 27 batters deep, 103 pitches, 7 1/3, 2 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. Aparicio has taken the collar all 3 times. Greg played his Jim Clancy Memorial season. The Jays finished 68-93. In real life, they only won 52. The Rangers won it all. You do that in OTP, right? Popped up behind the plate. Greg was at 77 or 78. So 1-2 to Aparicio. Score deals. And that's slapped to third. Rosen will grab it, 2 out. For Nellie Fox, who now has a 10-game hitting streak, 1 for 2. He is singled and walked. 77. I think we talked about this before, but in 78, in Action PC, which we did in 2020, the Rangers won the West and went to the World Series. They upset the Yankees. Speaking of 2020 and that 78 replay, I've been asked to write an article for Jamie Marshall. And so he's asked me a couple specific questions about the community and what we did every day. So if you're watching, or if you watched in 2020 while we did that, what struck out most to you? Not necessarily about the replay, but that. I'd be curious to get some more feedback. Pitch to Fox. That's into left center. Busby running back will make the catch. And Cleveland's through. And Chicago's done. No runs, no hits, and no errors. Bottom 8, 1-1. So Colavito, Rosen, and Carrasquel. Rocky 0 for 2 with a walk. So far in 78, you're 4-2. Seattle, I think, was the better of the 2 expansion teams in 77, although long term, I think once you get to 82, you can make the case the Blue Jays were the best team in baseball for a decade. Mets win 4-1. Seaver with a win. A happy recap for Mark. Doc Ellis with a loss. Akers with a save. Mets now in first on August 1st, 74. Pitch to Calavito. Struck him out. That's 6 for Pierce. 2-2 inside, 1 out for Al Rosen, who's 2 for 3. He has singled twice and driven in a run. You know, Lindsey Nelson, Bob Murphy, and Ralph Kiner should have gone to Abe Stark to find a new suit. But Lindsey instead went to Levitz and just took some of those couch samples and made a jacket out of that. Pitch to Rosen, and Al draws the walk. You know, the thing with Lindsey Nelson, he did it to stand out. Just give me the cheapest stuff that you got, and we'll turn it into a coat. It is not true that Dolly Parton wrote a coat of many colors for Lindsey Nelson. Chico Carrasquel is 2 for 3 on the afternoon. He has singled twice. Paul doing 81. Action PC almost done with the strike. I'd be curious if you get the Cardinals and the Reds in the NLCS. Time for Kiner's Corner, brought to you by Abraham and Strauss. And today's guest, Tom Seaver, gets a $25 gift certificate from Armatron, the official watch of the New York Mets. Pitch to Chico. There's a ground ball to third. Hatfield's got it. Goes to Fox, and that will retire Rosen. They will only get 1 on the 5-4 fielder's choice. 2 out for Hegan, who's 0 for 3 with a K. How you doing, Michael? Good to have you along. Yep, Craig Sager became the Lindsey Nelson of basketball. Some great videos of Kevin Garnett just trashing those suits. Pitch to Hegan. That's up the middle. Fox over to Dropo, and that will do. So we go to the 9th. No runs, no hits, no errors. Cleveland is left on 10, and after 8, 1-1. So, score to face Doby, Minoso, and Lawler. Larry is struck out twice. He's 0 for 3. And a set of Samsonite luggage. Yeah, Don Cherry. Oh, absolutely. With the neck collars. Yeah, Michael, hope you're feeling better. Pitch to Doby, and Larry draws the walk. And Jim Rivera will pinch run. So, hard to double him up. Rivera not going to steal here. He has stolen 14 on the year. Minoso 0 for 3 with a K. Herb Score has held the White Sox to 2 hits. He's walked 4, but just 2 hits. Got him! That's 10 for Score, and he now, I wasn't paying much attention, has exceeded his real-life strikeout total. So 1 out for Lawler. Sherm is 0 for 3. Not a fan of Don, eh, Greg? I remember when I first started college 1,500 years ago and watching Coach's Corner and amazed that someone could say that stuff on television. Throw down to Avila, and Rivera's out. They throw him out. How about that? He only had a 57% chance to steal, so I wasn't thinking he'd go. He gets sent, and he's thrown out on a bang-banger. 2 out and a 2-1 count to Lawler. Michael trying to figure out if he's feeling better and seeing if he's going to go to Canton. Fly ball, left center. Woodling will grab it. Cardiac time, kiddies. No runs, no hits, no errors. Bottom 9, 1-1. So we will pinch hit for Score. Who we got? Al Smith. The Governor has not pinch hit this year. 260, 5 homers, and 49 RBI. Cleveland needs 1 to win. Won't be that one. Popped up. Fox coming in. 1 out on the pop-up. Jim Busby 0 for 4. So Pierce, 36 batters, 8 1/3, 133 pitches, 5 hits, 7 walks, and 6 strikeouts. That is true, Andrew. Lindsey Nelson, the first week of the Astrodome, they got him up in the gondola. A long way above, right above second base and a long way. I don't know if they got him in a camera up there or him, and it kind of swayed a bit. And so Lindsey's sitting there grabbing onto the railing. But he said the view, if you didn't get sick, was incredible. Not like you're going to get hit with a ball up there. Pitch to Busby. Struck him out. So 2 out. We're about to go to Gardner time here. Bobby Avila has walked 3 times and is 0 for 1. Yeah, you know, I think you get on TV and read your press clippings, and that will change. See, I was supposed to be done by now. Michael's predicting another 15-inning game. I hope not. Pitch to Avila. That's up the middle. Fox has it. Extra innings. Free baseball on a Thursday. We go to the 10th. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 9, 1-1. And it's going to be Ray Narleski. Narleski, in a picture taken at Yankee Stadium, must be a Topps card, 28 years old, 23rd appearance. He is 2-0, a 3.69 ERA, ground ball pitcher, and the fastball tops out at 86. He last pitched on the 3rd, so 5 days ago, an 11-8 loss to Kansas City. 2 2/3 did not factor in the decision, although he got Christmas treed. 49 pitches, 4 hits, 4 runs, all earned. A home run, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Overall for Ray, 31 2/3, 18 hits, 13 runs, all earned. That 1 home run. He has walked 14 and struck out 31. Dropo, Phillips, and Hatfield here in the 10th. Walt 0 for 2, a walk and a run scored. Kingman would have done it. Yeah. Kingman was a freak of nature. He could hit him 6,000 yards and still strike out 190 times. Yeah. Kingman also hit the roof at the Big O. They marked it with orange paint. Struck him out. Strawberry hit the roof there once too, right? On opening day, 88 or 89 or whatever it was. Narleski got him on an 0-2 looking. Here's Bubba Phillips. Bubba is 0 for 2 with a walk. And Ron Northey will pinch hit. Northey, as a pinch hitter, 385, 2 homers, and 6 RBI. Overall, 429, 4 homers, and 10 RBI. Yeah. Kyle Schwarber, yeah. Feast or famine. He'll either hit it, go long gone, or the whiff. Northey in the left goes the opposite way. In comes Woodling, makes the catch. 2 out for Hatfield, who is 1 for 3. He has doubled and drove home the lone run for the White Sox. You can call me Ray, or you can call me Jay, but you don't have to call me Gnarly. This sounds crazy. I don't know, but call me maybe? Yep, Barfield, 40 homers, 150 RBI. But Barfield had a cannon out there in right field. Pitch to Hatfield. Into right center, back goes Colavito, and that's off the wall. So Hatfield is into second with his second double of the day, and the White Sox have the go-ahead run. They're going to pinch run. Jim Delsing, who's a 7 out there, over from the Tigers, will make sure that they can score on a base hit. What do you do with Billy Pierce, who's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts? Yes, 100 strikeouts was no longer frowned upon. Yet Dewey had a cannon out there. And Dewey got better as a hitter the older he got. He was a disciple of Walt Hriniak and might have been the only person upset when the Red Sox disposed of Johnny Mack. Pierce will get pinch hit for. Ron Jackson will come in. No, it is not Papa Jack, hitting .333 with an RBI. Overall, 185, no homers, and 7 RBI. So Delsing, the go-ahead run on second, 2 out. That is in the left. In comes Woodling. He will let it drop. Now, will Delsing go around? He will! Oh, they gambled. He knew that if it got past him, it would score the run, but Woodling never threw home. And Delsing scores. You do that, eventually you give up the hit to try to have a shot at the runner, and Woodling never threw it. So 2-1 Chicago on the boo-boo by Woodling. You gotta throw home, Snoopy. You gotta throw home. Aparicio 0 for 4. He has struck out 3 times. Raul Mondesi, Dave Parker, Ichiro, Vladdy Guerrero, Ruben Sierra. Is that to reduce the fences? Well, Cleveland, as you know, this was built as an Olympic stadium, and they built it to be big. So, yes, over the years, those fences got moved around quite a bit. Pitch to Aparicio, popped up, Higgin to the screen, won't get there. Full count. Who was it? It was Clemente who had a -6 in strat, and Dewey that had a -6 in strat for an arm, right? Pitch to Aparicio, fly ball left field, Woodling gets pelted with a tomato or two as he comes off. Ellis Kinder in to close it out for Chicago. They get a run on 2 hits, no errors. Cleveland 1 to tie, 2 to win. 2-1 White Sox. So old folks Kinder, 42 years old, 2-1 on the replay with a 4.76 ERA. 21st appearance, last pitched yesterday and took the loss against Cleveland. Didn't retire a batter. 2 hits and a walk on 16 pitches. A run and an earned run. Pitching like Tim Conway's old man. Overall for Ellis, 17 innings, 24 hits, 12 runs, 9 earned. A home run allowed. He's walked 6 and struck out 6. All right, talk to you later, Mark. Have a good time. I think there are eras in baseball where the better players kind of get ignored. And I think if you just kind of drew a line of demarcation, it would be after 1980. That obviously, you know, there are some players who played in some markets that got probably the benefit of the doubt. But if you didn't play in one of the big cities, you probably got discounted a bit. Woodling 0 for 3. He has walked and struck out, and Kinder got him on a 1-2 fastball, 1 out. So again, 1 to tie, 2 to win. Here's Wirtz, 0 for 3. Walked, struck out, and scored. Sounds like the current Yankee bullpen. I'm looking forward to this, Mark. There's a fly ball, right center. Back goes Rivera. Off the wall. Wirtz is into second. He thought that was gone, so he starts in his trot. There's no wind, and that just grazed the top of the wall. So Colavino can win the ball game now. Rocky 0 for 3, a walk and a strikeout. Kuiper should have won a Gold Glover too. Yep. Andrew saw Dwight Evans play for Louisville when they were the AAA team with the Red Sox. Carlton Fisk, Cecil Cooper, Ben Ogilvy. Oh, yeah. Calavito to the mound. Kinder to Dropo. 2 out. So last chance saloon is Al Rosen, who's had himself a good day. 2 for 3. He has singled twice, driven in a run, and walked. So Kinder, hopefully not to be Kinling. To right field, Delsing a 4 and a 4, going back to the corner, foul. A long, loud strike. Rosen steps out, swings the bat, steps back in. Wirtz takes the lead off a second, a 2-2 count. Up the middle, Fox stabs it, throws to Dropo, and the White Sox win. I thought that was a base hit. Nellie Fox does it again. And the White Sox win this one 2-1. In 2 hours and 47 fake minutes and 10 innings, the White Sox, 2 runs, 4 hits, and no errors. The Indians fall to 72 and 61, 1 run, 6 hits, no errors. They leave on 11. The White Sox left on 5 as they move to 73 and 60. Billy Pierce gets the win. He goes to 14 and 11, 9 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. He walked 7 and struck out 7. And Kinder picks up his 8th save. He gave up a hit and a strikeout. Herb scored 9 innings, 2 hits, an earned run. He walked 4 and struck out 10. He could have thrown 170 pitches. Wow. Ray Narleski was a bit gnarly. An inning, 2 hits, a run that was earned, and a strikeout. And I guess we give Hatfield the MVP. He had the 2 doubles. Delsing scored the winning run. Oh, as a pinch runner for Hatfield. So we'll give Hatfield the MVP. So the White Sox moved to 4.5 back. You're hoping for a Yankee loss. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Let's do the rest of the games. On this 8th day of September, the Yankees beat the Senators 11-3. Tom Sturdivant 7-6. Camilo Pascual 6-18. Sturdivant, his own bestie, 4 for 5 and a triple. I'm seeing that the Tigers have lost 4-2 to Kansas City. Tom Gorman 3-8. Paul Foytak probably couldn't find the broadside of a barn. 14-10. And Skeezes 2 for 4 hits his 11th. Washington, by the way, and that Sturdivant struck out 15 in that win too. Goodness gracious, Buffy St. Marie. Pirates beat the Phillies 10-8 at Connie Mack. Vern Law 6-14. Rogovan 4-12. Foyles 2 for 3, hits his 5th, drives in 5. Dodgers lose to the Giants 4-2. Grissom 4-5. Roger Craig falls to 12-7. Littlefield picks up the save. Milwaukee cannot take advantage. Chicago beats them 3-2. The lead is still 11. Lone 3-11. Jolly takes the loss. He goes to 6-3, and Davis picks up his 4th save. In 11, the Red Sox beat the Orioles 7-5. Hurd goes to 6-5. Ferrazzi 7-5. Billy Goodman 4 for 6, a triple and a double. We told you about Kansas City and Detroit. St. Louis pounds out 16 hits. They beat Cincinnati 6-5. Cullum 7-2. Brooks Freeman goes to 8-10. Burgess 3 for 4, hits his 8th with a double. All right. So we will see you tomorrow, presumably for the Dodgers and the Braves. And until then, I'm Ron Zucker. Thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you the next time. So long, everybody.